Have you ever stopped and thought, what if Jesus was more than just a good guy with good quotes? More than a prophet? More than a story you grew up hearing but never really questioned? Some who deny that Jesus is God claim that Jesus never said that he is God. It is correct that the Bible never records Jesus saying the precise words, "I am God." This does not mean, however, that Jesus never claimed to be God. What if the guy who walked around dusty streets in sandals was actually God stepping into our world? I know that sounds wild, but stay with me. This isn't about turning your brain off, it's about using it. Because here's the thing, almost no serious historian argues that Jesus didn't exist. That debate is over. Roman writers, Jewish historians, government officials, all talk about him. They confirm he lived, he taught, he was crucified, and his followers worshipped him as God right away. Not hundreds of years later, not after legends formed. From the start, and we actually have more historical documents about Jesus than about almost anyone else in ancient history. More than Caesar, more than Plato. So the idea that Jesus was just a made-up myth doesn't really hold up. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Jesus didn't let people call him just a good teacher. He said things no normal teacher could say. He forgave sins. He accepted worship. He said he existed before Abraham, like thousands of years earlier. That's not inspirational talk. That's a God claim. So logically, only a few options exist. Either Jesus was lying, but liars don't teach radical love, forgiveness, and humility, then willingly die for it. Or he was crazy. But crazy people don't change the world with wisdom that still makes sense 2,000 years later. Or the whole thing was made up, which history doesn't support. That leaves one option that kind of messes with us. What if he was telling the truth? And then there's the resurrection. If Jesus stayed dead, none of this would matter. Christianity would have ended that weekend. Instead, something happened that flipped everything upside down. His followers went from hiding to speaking boldly, from fear to courage, from running away to giving their lives. People don't die for something they know is fake. They don't get tortured for a story they invented. Paul wasn't looking for Jesus. He wasn't raised Christian. He wasn't comforted by faith. He was a highly educated Pharisee, one of the most respected Jewish teachers of his time. He knew the scriptures inside and out. He was intelligent, disciplined, and respected. And he hated Christianity. He actively hunted down Christians, arrested and executed them. From Paul's point of view, Jesus wasn't God. Jesus was a dangerous lie that needed to be erased. Paul lost everything. Overnight, the man who persecuted Christians became one of their greatest defenders. People don't endure that for something they know is false, not someone with Paul's education, status, and everything to lose. Paul is living proof that Christianity didn't spread because it was easy. It spread because something real happened. A dead man doesn't change enemies into worshippers. A myth doesn't turn persecutors into martyrs. But a risen God does. Even historians who don't believe in God admit the tomb was empty, and something convinced hundreds of people that Jesus was alive again. Now here's where science comes in, and this part surprises people. Science tells us the universe had a beginning. Space, time, matter, energy, all of it started. And everything that begins has a cause. That cause would have to exist outside the universe. Outside time, outside matter, that actually fits perfectly with what Jesus revealed about God. And the universe is so perfectly designed for life that scientists call it fine-tuned. The odds of it happening by accident are so small it's almost laughable. And Jesus claimed something no one else ever did. Through me all things were made. Not a prophet, not a teacher, the source. But honestly, the biggest evidence isn't something you read in a textbook. It's this feeling inside you that there has to be more. The longing for purpose, the need to be forgiven, the desire to be fully known and still loved. Jesus didn't come offering a philosophy. He came offering himself. A God who steps into pain instead of avoiding it. A God who touches the rejected. A God who sits with the broken. A God who dies so we don't have to stay dead inside. No other religious leader said, "I am God. I forgive sins. I give eternal life. I will rise again," and then proved it. So the question isn't really, is there evidence that Jesus is God? The evidence is there, in history, logic, science, and in you. The real question is, what are you going to do with it? Because if Jesus is God, then your life matters. Your struggles aren't invisible. Your story isn't over. And every part of you, even the messy parts, is seen, loved, and called by him. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spiritual growth.